2025 Mitsubishi Outlander. This is the largest Mitsubishi sold in the United States, and yet it is still a compact crossover SUV. Let's take a closer look. There are some updates on the front of the car, but they are subtle. The main shape of the front end is pretty similar, but they smoothed the upper part of the grille now. This used to have more of a pattern, more of a three-dimensional look to it, and now it's this smooth gloss black plastic right here. We do still have these chrome horizontal slots and a nice chrome Mitsubishi badge right there. The pronounced chrome C shape here that starts at the bottom of these headlight beams, well, daytime running light beams right here, and going all the way down and underneath the low vertically stacked main beams, and then a small fog light tucked there. This is largely the same, and I think it works fine. It's a good look. And then we get to the lower grille, and we've got more horizontal slots here, and then some ridges built into it down there. Largely, it's the same, but this smoothness is new, and I do think it's a good improvement. I like that they have Outlander in black here to match the grille, and I like that the shape of the hood kind of folds down and tucks around, again, just above the daytime running lights right here, coming across, and then we have a nice couple of ridges in the center. It fits the rest of the car well. All right, let's look under the hood. No change underneath here. We still have a 2.5-liter inline four-cylinder that makes 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. No, not blockbuster numbers. Big plastic intake manifold is up front, exhaust manifold in the rear. You can see this super beefy engine mount right here, and then the serpentine belt beneath that. Battery hangs out right next to that back here, and then a nice big fuse box next to that. The front axle center line is right here, coming right to about the back of the fuse box, and then on down. So much of the engine is ahead of the front axle center line. Not great, and this is transversely mounted, so there is a transaxle next to it, not behind it, but it is a fairly long box behind, and it is all-wheel drive, so that does help balance the weight a little bit. And windshield washer fluid is right here, right up front, easy to get to. Looking at the car in profile, this is effectively the same shape that we had before, and it's a perfectly reasonable shape with what I have to say is a lot of nice details. I'll switch to the other side and show you. We've got this nice gloss black A-pillar right here to fit the gloss black roof, but then we have this nice polished metal roof rail right here, and then gloss black for the shark fin as well. This gloss black goes all the way across and right down to the back, with more gloss black for the C and the B pillars as well. But then this lower trim right here is chrome and comes right to the back and gets thicker as it goes up right here. Looks nice. We do have body colored door handles right here, and the body color is new for 2025. It is called Moonstone Gray Metallic. Going back to the other side to show you the color in whole, yeah, I think it looks nice. The side view mirrors have a lot going on as well. Body color up top, black plastic down low, and then pretty obvious camera here for the 360-degree view setup. I find this interesting that they've got these cuts in the metal, these character lines in the metal to kind of form fender flares of sorts. They're not really much of a flare in actuality. It bulges out just a little bit here, but then we have these interesting ridges before we get to this black plastic right at the base. Similar treatment for the rear, very similar, very small actual flare, but some interesting design details to make it stand out a little bit. And we do have another character line that forms right at the end of the quarter panel and then bends up and then goes right through the door handles right here before meeting the side of the tail lights. And then the doors kind of tuck in, and then we've got another character line down low coming here before we get to the base. It's actually a bit on the busy side, but it's fine. I would say it fits the rest of the car if a touch on the busy side. Switching back to the other side of the car again to tell you that I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen for you to check out and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. The base ES trim Outlander has an 18-inch wheel, but it is a new design 18-inch wheel. And then the SE and the SEL trims get 20-inch wheels, and they are new design as well. And, you know, again, it's a bit on the busy side, but I think it's a nice looking wheel overall. I like these fat pieces right here, followed by these like hollow pieces right here. It's an interesting design. And then we have black surrounding all that to kind of just make the contrast of the polished metal stand out even more. And, you know, it works. And I appreciate that we are working with 20-inch wheels, not 21s or 22s to give us no sidewall at all. We've got a little bit of sidewall to work with here. These days it's above average. And yes, this is your fairly standard crossover SUV. The wheels and tires in back are the same size as what's in front. Looking at the back of the car, again, this is largely the same, but Mitsubishi did update the taillights a little bit. There's a little bit of a smokier hue to the taillights, and there's just a little bit more going on with the lenses than before. Subtle changes, but again, I think directionally the right way. And I think, honestly, the rear end is the simplest and therefore, in my opinion, kind of the best elements of the car. It just kind of gets to the point and does it well. We do have a bit of rake in the rear windshield here, and then, you know, a little bit larger than necessary roof-mounted spoiler right here, but it fits. It works with the car really well. By the way, this is what Mitsubishi calls their all-wheel drive system, super all-wheel control. Then we do have tastefully sized Mitsubishi badge here. Here's your indication that it's an SEL and what kind of car you got. And we do have these little design elements down here, which if you look at them at first glance in a pinch, you might think they are faux exhaust tips. I don't know. I think it's mostly just a design element and it works for me. The actual exhaust is down here on the driver's side, tucked away, just as it should be. You are looking at a healthy amount of cargo space in this two-row SUV, except it's not a two-row SUV. This is a three-row SUV with your headrest right there and seats that come out like that. And once the seats are out, you have decisively less amount of cargo space. And as you can see, this is a very much an emergency third row. Now, the second row can slide forward a bit, but even if you slide it forward some, now you are very much pinching the second row, and it's still very little leg room for the third row as well. These are very much a third row for young kids and nothing more. But Mitsubishi themselves admit that this is a third row for emergencies, and in an emergency you do have seat belts for 7 if you really need it, so it can come in handy. And if you need more cargo space than this and only have to carry yourself and a passenger, that's actually really easy to do. Pull a couple levers and you have a lot more cargo room and room for yourself and a passenger, like I said. And I'm confident that you'd have plenty of room for my bike as well, but alas, I did not travel with my bike. It is a fairly wide space, it is a fairly low loading floor, and it is a nice flat surface, so I imagine I'd have zero trouble at all. All right, let's check out the inside. When the second row is all the way back, it is a fairly generous amount of space. And as you can see, we've got this nice two-tone interior going on, pretty dark right here, but then what they call brick brown right here. And we do also have a manual sunshade, nice touches to be sure. This is also the Yamaha sound system. This is the first North American Yamaha sound system in a car, at least in a long while. This being an SEL with a premium package, we do have 3 zones of climate control and heated rear seats, and beneath that, 2 USB Type-C ports right there. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and I have, a few inches of knee room, and the seat bottoms aren't great, but they're not bad, so I have decent thigh support. Courtesy of this panoramic moonroof, however, I do not have much headroom unless I really put my head back, because the end of the panoramic moonroof is right here, and that's right about where my head wants to go. It is spacious enough that I do have less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. And, courtesy of the heated seats, the sunshades, it's, reasonably comfortable back here overall. I don't think adults would want to do a long trip back here, but they'd be okay for a little while. And pull on this, and the center part folds down to give you an armrest and a couple of cup holders, or a pass-through for skis if you need it. So yeah, overall, not bad. All right, to the front. Here is another look at the brick brown and dark interior. We do have the usual controls on the door, as well as 2-position seat memory right there. We do have this nice metal kick plate that says Outlander on it, and we do have powered seats that does include lumbar support. We do also have aluminum pedals, which is new for 2025. How about that? And a couple of controls to the left of the steering wheel. And if you need to adjust the steering, both tilt and telescope adjustment is manually done right here. This is a fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster, and new for 2025, up from 9 inches, a standard equipment center display that is also 12.3 inches. And on the higher trims, you can get a head-up display as well. Push button start is right here. And there is the instrument cluster lit up and the center display lit up. And more standard equipment with this new center display. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. The wireless Android Auto part is new for 2025, and the fact that all of it's standard is also new for 2025. The steering wheel itself is a nice fat rim, and it is, an old school steering wheel, no flat bottom or anything like that, but it suits me fine. And we do have cruise control options on the right, media control options on the left. We do also have paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left, but we do not have gears. This is a continuously variable transmission, but in sport mode or tarmac, we do have 8 predefined cogs that you can upshift and downshift to with the paddle shifters. Beneath the screen itself, we do have a few buttons and a volume and power knob right here, and we have a nice convenient button for the 360-degree view cameras, always nice. Beneath that, we do have the first 2 zones of our 3-zone climate control system. We do have heated seats and, new for 2025, ventilated seats as well. We do also have a heated steering wheel. Beneath that, 2 more USB Type-C ports right there, another cigarette plug style port right there, and a wireless smartphone charger beneath all that. From there, we have 2 cup holders that are nice and big and reasonably deep. New-ish looking Prindle right here. Just this big block, that's kind of traditional, but it doesn't shift through a pattern here. It just moves back and forth like that with a push button for park. And then we have several drive modes right there. I'll get to that in just a moment. And then our electric park brake is below that. This design is updated for 2025 as well. And again, it's not a huge difference, but I think directionally Mitsubishi went the right way. I'm happy with it. From there, we do have lower center console storage right there. It does go reasonably deep, you can see, and we have yet another USB Type-C port right there. Looking up, we do have a new frameless rearview mirror right here, and it doubles as a screen for a camera back there. Yes, it is a digital rearview mirror. From there, we do have a sunglasses holder and controls for lights and a electric privacy panel. Isn't that lovely? The center display itself is a fairly nice screen, and it does work and move around just fine with reasonable options. I've only had a couple hours in the car, so I didn't have any time to really play around with it, but the bits that I did do, it all functions well. Let's talk drive modes, because we do have many drive modes. First of all, we do have hill descent control. That's this push button right here. From there, we have Eco, Normal, Tarmac, which is effectively the sport mode for Mitsubishi, Gravel, Snow, and Mud. This does not have an adjustable suspension, but it does have adjustable powertrain. It adjusts stability control, traction control, and all those types of things, and the four-wheel drive system can behave differently. Not to mention, you know, throttle map, those kinds of things. So you do have a lot of choice when it comes to drive modes in how this SUV behaves. You don't have tons of power to work with, but you've got more than nothing. So there you have it, the updated 4th generation Mitsubishi Outlander. The base Outlander ES is not that expensive considering everything. I'll go ahead and put the price up on the screen right now. It is available in either front or all-wheel drive. And from there, going up to the SEL does raise the price a bit. I'll go ahead and put that price on the screen right now. And my test car, pretty much top of the line, did have a few options. I'll go ahead and put that on the screen right now. This is an interesting, rather unique SUV. To be a very large but still compact crossover SUV, this is bigger than a Honda CR-V, but not by that much. And yet, it does still offer 3 rows of space. And I have to say, for 2 of the 3 rows at least, it's a pretty comfortable amount of space. If you want to max out what you can get from a compact crossover SUV, this Outlander is definitely worth taking a look at.